all, GC Gamer here. This is another episode of Football Manager 2016 Up the Pompey. Thank you for joining us once again. And as you'll see, it's the beginning of February. And it's been a couple of months since our last update. We're still 1 point away from Carlisle in the playoff spots. So they're 1 point above us, which is magic. We're 1 point away from the playoffs, and they're 1 point above us. Great, huh? So we've been there or thereabouts for most of the season. We've had some mixed results since our last episode, which ended in the 19th of December, and you can see from our position graph that we've been pretty consistently near the top of the table without ever being anything too exciting. Our lowest point there you can see is 6th, and lowest point is 10th. So highest point 6th, sorry, lowest point 10th. So if you have a look at our schedule since our last game I believe you saw was against Northampton, 1-1 draw. And since then we've had some pretty decent results. Now we had 3 games in a row where we won and kept a clean sheet. Now after these 3 games I had to go out. So I did the typical Football Manager thing, and I left the game on, being superstitious and all, and believing that if I leave the game on, I'll come back and I'll continue my winning streak. So I left the game on for about 24 hours, came back, played the next game, and lo and behold, I lost 1-0 against Oxford. So for all those Football Manager superstitious people out there, don't be superstitious. If you're on a winning streak, count your blessings, save the game, quit the game, come back later and hope you keep on winning. Don't end up like me and leave it on for 24 hours and then lose. So a quick look at our games. As you see against Luton, Bruninho scored as well as Michael Doyle. Michael Doyle, our captain, hasn't been getting that many games. And Bruninho, and I love this guy, Bruninho. Now, the reason I love him is because he wanted first team football, and he came to me and asked for first team football. So I said yes, okay, let's go, Bruninho, show me what you've got. So if we look at his form, you can see he wasn't playing, asked for first team football. I said, okay, I'll give you a chance. I did sign him for the first team after all. And straight away he scored in his first game back. And then next game he played pretty decently, and then he scored again. So I'm pretty happy with him. I'm pretty happy that he had the balls to come to the manager and say, yo, Gaffer, what's up? I need to play some football. And I was like, go on then, son. Show us what you've got. And he scored a couple of goals. And as you can see from his stats, he's pretty good for this level. He might not be my best right winger, because you can see I've got a couple above, and we'll talk about that later. Don't let me forget about telling you about the transfers. If I forget, make sure you comment. So yeah, Bruninho, he's been a bit of a revelation since he started playing. After that, we scored 3 goals, and you can see the usual suspects there scoring the goals. Again, Bruninho scored a second time, as well as Matty Tubbs, who's been scoring goals all season. Then we had the ill-fated game against Oxford. Now you might notice something about this little icon here. So, what can I say really? Let's just have a look at the match report, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So you'll see in the 90th minute, just when we thought we were back in with a shout, hopefully getting a draw, Matty Tubbs, one of our best players of the season, misses a penalty. Tragic stuff. But, I mean, what can you say? That's football after all. After that disappointment, we got a 1-1 draw with Accrington. Matty Tubbs getting on the score sheet again. As usual, great player. Lots of goals this season. And really been one of the better players we've had. We then got the win there against Barnet. And we just lost against Leyton Orient. Pretty close match. But to be honest, they were the better team on the day. Mason Bennett got the goal. If you remember last episode, I haven't been too happy with you guys who have been watching on YouTube, who kept on telling me, sign Bennett, sign Bennett. He's the answer to all your problems. Turns out he's not. But seriously, keep on commenting on YouTube. I love to see your comments. Really, really does help me keep on making these videos. But if we go to look at our transfer history, as you saw in last episode, we did sign Bennett and Abe, Quincy Owusu-Abe, ex-Arsenal player. And since then, we've signed Matthew Kennedy, who is a winger. Can play either side, mostly a right winger though, but can play on the left, although he's not as good. He's in as a bit of a rotation player, someone to stick on the bench and hope he can make an impact. And then secondly, we got in Paul Coots. Now this is an absolutely great signing. He is the best midfielder we have now, statistically, even though Sana is amazing. And he's a decent player for most Sky Bet championship sides. And he's playing for Portsmouth in League 2. So that's a great signing. He's played a couple of games so far, one sub appearance. He hasn't had the best of starts, decent average rating, but nothing spectacular yet. It might take him a few weeks to bed into the squad, but I think he could be a great signing that continues to go all the way up the leagues with us. Got him on a 2.5-year contract. That's pretty decent. Hopefully he'll stay the whole time. And maybe he'll be one of those guys who comes all the way to the Premier League with us. Jamie Vardy-esque, maybe. So yeah, the reason why I was able to sign Paul Coots is because we've had a bit of luck with some discussions with the board. So let's have a quick look at those discussions, what's happened since we last had an episode. So there's been a few discussions. I'm going to leave the best one to last. So one of our discussions was about improving the youth facilities. So the board weren't too keen on improving our facilities, but I eventually asked them, give me 2 years and I'll show you it's worth it. They accepted, and I might have shot myself in the foot here. So basically, they could now judge me on how well I'm using the youth that come through. So I'm looking forward to that first batch of youth coming through in the next month or so. And hopefully I can have a good player or two in that I can use. I also asked them to upgrade our youth category, which of course they already were nice once, they don't want to be nice twice. And then asked them to improve our scouting range, and again they weren't too happy with it. But the one that really was a big one was on the 4th of January, when I told them I think we need a bigger transfer budget because our rivals might beat us to key signings. They agreed. Not only did they agree, but they went a little bit crazy. I feel like maybe they had a bit too much happy juice in the morning. They upped our transfer budget to like 2.5 million from pretty much near zero. And that's how we signed Paul Coots. And what the crazy thing is, because we're a pretty big club, I could sign people like Jay Spearing. Now, yeah, not the best player in the world, but it's a pretty big sign when there's players like Jay Spearing on the transfer list and they're interested in coming. So I'm going to scout a few of these top players. Now, as you can see, the transfer window is already gone, and to be honest, the people I'm scouting now are more for the future, unless I want to get in maybe one of these guys on loan. So I'm going to get some scout reports now, and if we move up into League 1, some of these guys who are on the list right now hopefully will still be interested, and hopefully still be on the list, and I might be able to get them. So you'll see there's a lot of good players here. Now, one of the ones, Devante Cole, nice young player. He'll be interesting to scout. But one of the ones that I'm really interested in, and I actually might put a bid in now, rather than even waiting. Oh, Cameron Stewart's here. Sorry, distraction. Cameron Stewart's a fast player. Plays for Ipswich Town. But yeah, as I was saying, one of the players I think that I might sign, or try to sign as soon as possible, is George Tukadian. He's on the list for 210,000, and he's a very good striker, and it could give me some options. But, like I said, I didn't want to spend all of that money in January, because if you look at our finances, I didn't want to do another Portsmouth and get back into administration. The whole reason I'm playing this save is because, Portsmouth went into administration, went down the leagues, and I want to see them get back up the leagues. So I want to be financially responsible. As you can see, if I use that whole transfer budget of 2 million, that would take our bank balance down to 1 million, which in the course of the season, your bank balance always goes down. And it's not, it wouldn't be unheard of for us to end up going in the red if our bank balance was only 1 million right now. So, basically, I want to continue being financially responsible, and as I mentioned earlier, and as I promised the board, I do want to use the youth that come through. Finally, before I leave you guys for this episode, let's have a quick look at our squad. Right now, I think our squad is pretty strong. You'll see these are the players who've been playing the most. Brian Murphy, been ever present. Danny Hollands has been up there for most of the games, as has Matty Tubbs and Matthew Clark, although Matthew Clark is just coming back from an injury, which is why he's not in the starting lineup. As mentioned before, Bruno has a promise of playing in the first team, and he's actually pleased right now because I'm playing him in the first team. It's nice to see, like I mentioned before, Bruninho performing and doing well. Now Sana, clearly the signing of the season. I pretty much knew that he was going to be great looking at his stats, and he's been absolutely superb. He is a very good player. He could be leading player for most Sky Bet League One sides. He's another one I hope follows us up the league. So, this has been an interesting episode. You've got to see a few of those board interactions. You've got to see a few signings and hear a bit about the plans for the future. I hope I continue to put in some good performances so we can rise up the leagues. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe for more Football Manager action.